Welcome to the Tuesday Triggers podcast. We have a super special guest, Arnaud Belinga, today of Breakcold. As you guys all know, we always try to interview and spend time with people that have, first and foremost, really unique and cool tech. No offense, that are also second, really interesting people. So, welcome onto the podcast today, Arnaud.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's a
Yeah,
pleasure.
no, yeah, no worries, no worries. Well, I think that one thing that's just interesting, and again, just to dive straight into it today, is you've now created Breakcold. I would love a rundown of what exactly Breakcold is, where it stands in the market, and then we can dive into a little bit further about the unique history of how you built it and where you've come from.
Yeah, sure. So long story short, like Breakcold is kind of a simple sales CRM for LinkedIn and email power users. So, like the CRM market is like arguably like the biggest SaaS software market in the world. Like you have gigantic softwares like HubSpot, Salesforce, and also smaller ones, but still very big like Pipedrive. And like we want to penetrate the space by having this unique angle where we have a sales CRM, so sales focused, that also integrate with LinkedIn, because for B2B sales, LinkedIn is pretty big these days. But all the other CRMs or even the big ones, like they never integrate properly with LinkedIn. Sometimes you have third party integrations, but they all suck because the software by design is not built around socials. And so the goal here is kind of how I put it in my cold emailing, and it works pretty well. Is I'm saying to prospects that it's kind of a mix between like Pipedrive and LinkedIn. So kind of if Breckle is if Pipedrive and LinkedIn had a baby, kind of. So yeah, that's pretty much like how I would sum up Breckle. So kind of a modern alternative to Pipedrive.
Nice. That's awesome. And, I think that one of the things that attracted me to Breakcold is, again, that unique capability. There's nothing out there in the market that does exactly what you said. To speak to that, I know that Breakcold didn't start out as Breakcold, right? There was
Yeah.
another products or other products before that. What helped you realize product market fit and to shift? Because, and maybe you can even tell us a little bit of the story, but what helped you realize product market fit and what made you shift totally like almost 180 to move and do a whole new product?
Yeah, so Breckle initially wasn't a sales CRM. Initially, it was an AI first line generator tool with cold emailing on top. And I think pretty rapidly back in 2022 now, like we realized that even it was pre-chat GPT for context. And so we're just using OpenAI Playground API to generate the first lines, etc. We got some hype on Twitter, now X. And I don't know why, but I quickly noticed that maybe at some point ChatGPT, which didn't exist at the time, will be released, and it will pretty much like crush all the AI first line tools. And secondly, AI first line tools for many reasons, and we all know this now that it's not really great. Like you better be relevant when you're doing cold outreach, especially cold outreach at scale, rather than just adding some fluffy, unrelevant personalization, right?
Hey, I
Um,
saw you went to a college. Congratulations.
yeah, it was better than that. But even though there was so many tools, man, that we were in this pack, and people will just think that you do that, even though it was better. And I think Clay, regarding to that, like they just don't do AI first line. They do so many other things. But I think like they gave like the responsibility of the outputs of the first lines to like the user instead of like having some templates, and people think that the software just suck because the output is bad, but it's because they don't know how to feed the AI correctly. So that was a big problem, and so I realized that we shifted the product around social selling, and later on to become a proper sales CRM. And also for the people listening here, like Smart Lead, I think a tons of people are using Smart Lead these days or instantly for cold emailing at scale. Smart Lead as well had a product before Smart Lead that was called Smart Rider, and they also realized the exact same thing, and then they built Smart Lead, and now Smart Lead is a pretty stellar success, right? And so yeah, we decided to not take the cold emailing routes and to go for the sales CRM space. Um, and the main reason was mainly because like who would be crazy enough to build a sales CRM in the most competitive markets in SaaS in the world, bootstrap? And it's true, like no one is doing it. Like you have literally no competition. Like you have two startups who raised money like 4 years ago, but that's it. And they're not like putting really hard work heavily to make this work. and um, and so yeah, that's why we decided to do that because it's really hard to build a sales CRM. Like the first year, lots of struggle. But if you survive, and most people like like they don't have the will to go full time on a software that might not work, especially CRMs, because on every acquisition channel you have competition. Like on SEO, you have HubSpot. On the YouTube, you have like Salesforce. Like on every channel, like it's super hard to penetrate. But now we have our positioning, and we start to get things better and better. Now word of mouth is increasing every month like crazy, which is the biggest leverage when you're a SaaS to grow. So yeah, I think like after now it's been a year. Yeah, actually, yeah, we got the first monthly subscription on the CRM aspect like 1 year ago, and like it took us like 12 months to build like the basic CRM features, because in a CRM like people expect tons of features, from reminders to lead contact management, and also we have to have this unique positioning with LinkedIn, etc. So now all everything is coming together, and in this summer, the focus is just to upgrade the product for teams, so that it's gonna be even faster for us once you have teams. Because right now we were relying on small agencies, really small teams or solopreneurs, but we still had this barrier to get proper sales teams because we don't have a like deep analytics yet. So yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, there's two things I want to dive in on here,
Yeah.
and these are really relevant to me because I'm also in a founder's journey, right? We've got our agency, RevGen Labs, which is doing incredibly well. We've got 25 clients right now. We've also got our tool RevReply, which is an AI autoresponder or appointment setter that sits in your inbox and listens to incoming emails to basically act as like a salesperson in your inbox. And so we're going through a lot of these motions right now. And you said, hey, look, I kind of struggled for a year to get to the place. Well, I made a whole pivot, and then I had to build for a year to get to the place where I could take on paying customers and move forward. So let's talk about this. How did you find product market fit for your tool?
Yeah, I think frankly, even though right now we like cash flow positive, we hired a full-time tech guy recently. I wouldn't say we product market fit yet, because otherwise like we will be adding so much revenue every month. But still we found like minimum product market fit, I would say. And so just takes a lot of iterations. So the first 2 to 3 months when we were decided to take the CRM route, I think I've done like for 3 months straight, I've done about like 400 calls a month with like tons of different people. Could be users, could be customers, but at the time we had like barely no customers. Um, so it was mainly like doing some research, and also we were not fully skilled in the CRM space as well. So just like a lots of yeah, interviews with people and tons of cold emailing to get these calls as well. But the positive reply rate, sorry, is better because you're not like selling something, you're just asking for feedback and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, it was tons of iterations. And in the beginning, when you don't have customers, it's tough. But when you start to have customers who don't churn, like they give you like an angle. And obviously, like because we've done like the Breakcold was also in the cold emailing space in the past. We got tons of experience in the sales market, so it was kind of easy to know what we should build. And now it's just a matter of time. Like we know exactly what we have to build for the next 18 months easily, but it's
Yep.
just a matter of resources. And like that's why we hired like a full-time tech guy recently and putting more money and efforts in that.
How do you prioritize once you get all of this feedback from 400 people? How do you prioritize then for your product road mapping like how are you prioritizing your sprints and what features you want to like, put at the top versus something that
Yeah.
maybe three people said, but you're like, oh, okay, I don't know if they're the right fit.
Yeah, so we like the whole feedback is stored in a public roadmap where people can upvote stuff. So obviously not every customers and users like will go to that page and upvote stuff.
Are you
But
using Frill? Sorry to interrupt.
no, it's not Frill. If you let me check, it's oh, it's white label, so I actually don't have the name right now, but I'm happy to
You
send
can
it.
tell me afterwards.
Yeah.
We can chop that part out.
And and so yeah, basically with that, with this public roadmap tool, and like also the feedback we get on a day-to-day basis, we pretty much are able to see pattern of the thing that people want to have the most. And so from that, we then grade the features in terms of how much people want that, and also how difficult is it to build. Is it like a sales pipeline automation feature that's going to take 6 months full time for two people to build, or is it going to be like 3 weeks or 3 weeks of work feature that's going to have like massive impact? And that's how we prioritize feature from there. But generally what we do is that for 1 to 2 months straight we're going to focus on a big feature, and then for 1 month, 1 month and a half, we're going to focus on like micro features, the thing that take 1 day, 2 days to build, and optimization. Because when you ship features every month, like especially software, like stability bugs and stuff happen very quickly, so you need to
Yeah.
do some breaks sometimes. So that's how we prioritize essentially, by giving a grade for each feature.
Talk to me about the importance of community. Actually, let me rephrase that. I know that you've built a really impressive community around Breakcold and compiled this group. So you've put together this really impressive community for Breakcold. Talk to me about the importance of that in 2024.
Yeah, I think like if I'm honest, like my inspiration in the beginning was like kind of like what Guillaume from Lemless did back in 2017 from my research, and instantly did the same. They pretty much took the playbook of Lemlist and applied it to themselves when they launched instantly in 2022. Worked incredibly well with Facebook group, etc., Twitter audience. And so yeah, the goal is kind of to replicate that playbook, which essentially is creating a Facebook group, being super active on either X or LinkedIn, and just bombarding people with content, newsletter, and also sharing everything that you can do, because you bootstrap, and people, they like to support the underdog, especially when like they have a problem with Pipedrive. They send an email to the support of Pipedrive. The Pipedrive pretty much doesn't reply and tell them to fuck themselves. And for us, it's kind of the opposite.
Look
Like
that up.
yeah, we reply sometimes quickly, sometimes not, but at least
Yeah.
like you have a human touch, and people from that, even though your product in the beginning is inferior, like they just believe in what you want to do and what you want to achieve for them, but also for yourself. And so with that, like the more you advance, the more like you build this little group of like super fans who vouch for you, even if they no longer subscribe to your product, and maybe they might be back in 4 months, they still vouch for you, and you have word of mouth from that. um and yeah, and us, it's more difficult, I would say, than most. I mean, not most, but some B2B softwares. Like, let's take Instantly Lemless again as an example. The results are very speak for themselves. Like, you send a cold emailing campaign, you have that open rate, that much open rate, that much positive replies, that much pipeline generated. But from my point of view, it's way easier to generate leads than to close deals. And just
Yeah.
because of that, it's easier to have word of mouth on this kind of product. And for us, like right now, the big focus and to build analytics, but and CRM ones are way harder to do of cold email campaigns, because we have campaigns. I know how hard it is. And to help people to not only get results to close deals, which is way harder to generate just leads, but also then to display these results. And this is what we started with some agency founders like Xavier from One Away cold emailing agency. I think like in 2 weeks he closed. He added $14,000 for his agency using Breakcold. So now we're in the case study phase and just bombarding with that strategy.
this is a bit changing gears a little bit, but what's your obviously you get a lot of inbound data for Breakcold to understand how people are selling. What's your advice to like SMB, SAT, or let's see. Let me take this. Let me restart this.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
sure.
getting you're getting a lot of data coming inbound from Breakcold, right? You're seeing the trends in sales in 2024. What's your advice to, let's say, a SaaS salesman or someone selling SaaS in 2024?
Yeah, I think for anyone selling something, either like SDR, BDR, or agency founder, it sounds counterintuitive at first, but I think posting content will fuel everything else. So if you do cold emailing, you will get a better positive reply because of your social presence. Just default, people will check you before replying most of the time, and in an outbound motion, or even with your the leads you already generated, because you post online, it's just another way to stay top of mind. It's kind of like an ad, but you're not paying for it. And so I think like salespeople, what they think about is just about it's not just about sending cold emailing, or it's not just about posting content, or it's not just about talking to leads. It's like doing the three pillars all together. It's like a virtuous cycle. Like the more you do the three at the same time, you will get exponential results. And people they just think it's they need to take one of this pillar and just sending 15,000 cold emails per month, or just posting every single day, or just talking to 10 leads every day. So that's the main mistake. And the second mistake I see the most is that people they chase too many new leads while they should focus on what they already have.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you generate leads and you just want to move on to the next, and they don't spend enough time on leads that they have generated, whether it's from the website or whatever, and they just lose so much money just because they don't want to do the effort. Sounds like of just nurturing the lead with LinkedIn conversations or email or a call, even if the buyer will not buy today. Like most people, they don't buy like the first week or the first months, and staying top of mind is underrated. And yeah,
Yeah. Nice. All right, cool. Well, that's it. One
yeah.
last question. You still skate?
Yeah, yeah, I do. Like not every week, but I try. And in Lyon, like we have like the Aurélien Giraud won the last SLS, for people who know. It's like the world championship in
Yeah.
skateboarding. So yeah, say skating the same park with like crazy dudes out there. But I'm not at the level. I'm not going to the Olympics for sure.
I'll show you a video of me eating shit a while back. It's pretty. All right, cool. Awesome, brother.